Hey everybody, so we're back again today with a very special guest. We've got Mama Beans back. So what we wanted to do today was answer some questions that you guys had asked us from our previous videos. If you haven't seen those, then I will link them down below, and Nellie's here too. But basically, if you haven't seen our videos, this is my foster mom, Jeannie, and how long did you do foster care?
15 years.
And you had 36 foster kids?
Yes.
So she knows quite a lot. So yeah, we're gonna start off by reading someone's question that I thought was pretty interesting, and then we're gonna go from there.
Okay, sounds good.
So Michelle E wants to know if I could make a video that goes into more detail about a child's first month in a new foster home. She said typical behaviors, things to expect, and what can you do to give them the space needed to grieve, but also help them feel loved and safe. So what would you say about that?
Okay, is this for an older child, did you say? Or would you say for an older child or
no, I think
a young child?
She's just wanting to know in general, like a child's first month in a foster home. Remember how you were telling me about like the honeymoon phase?
Yes.
So like you first get the child and like everyone's super nice and you know it's a good time, but then kind of after the honeymoon phase is over, then like, yeah, do you want to talk more about that?
Yes. Okay, so after you get your little one or big one, you're really excited, and they're excited because they're in a new home and they want to put their best foot forward. But this is not reality. This is the honeymoon phase, and it really is termed that. This is where everybody wants to look good, feel good, impress one another. It's not reality, for sure.
It's not reality.
And when that honeymoon phase is over, all hell will break loose, literally.
So like what happens, okay, so everything's really great and exciting at first, so then what happens? Like the kid is like doing something bad and they need to be punished or whatever, and they're like, you're not my mom. And
yes,
that,
right
like,
away.
Pull that kind of card.
It'll just happen. It can last 2 weeks, it can last 2 or 3 days, it can last a month. Ours never lasted any longer than a month, but it perhaps does for other people. The child wants to go with you places, is really excited about partaking in activities with the family. Then all of a sudden you'll say, oh, let's go to the store. And they will say, no. And you go, well, we're going to the store. Because you can't leave most kids home alone. I don't even care if they're a teenager. You can't do that until you've understood what is going on in their personality and what they're capable of doing. And they'll say, you can't make me. You're not my mom.
So what do you do?
Okay. Okay, first of all, I have a saying, never let them see you sweat. So you don't ever let them see your weak points. And I'll just say, I'm sorry, but we are going, and you are going with me. Now, at this point, I've been really nice, and but you have to remain firm but loving. And usually at this point, you know, and I'll kind of go over some things that they've said to me, like, I know you've had it very difficult in your life, but we really enjoy you and we would like you to come. And usually about that time they'll kind of break a little bit and say, okay. And I'll comfort them by saying it's going to be short, and when you come home you can have time to yourself, because kids really need that and want it, the time to themselves.
Okay, I'm going to read this question. This is from Daisy Logan, and she said, I'm a 28-year-old single woman who is thinking about becoming a foster parent. If you have any advice, let me know. What would you say to that?
Okay, 28-year-old single woman.
I say go, girl.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's someone for each child, and I know that she can find her perfect match. I know it kind of sounds like you're talking about a boyfriend or a future husband or whatever, but that's what fostering, then eventually adopting, is about. Finding the perfect match for your family. And it might be somebody that everybody says, why would you adopt that child? But you know, because they've seen the child outside their honeymoon period. and you just, you know it's a match. You know how much you love this child.
Yeah,
so,
and I feel like no one can really tell you that.
No.
Like you have to go with your intuition and what you feel, I guess.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Because a child, we've had children that were placed in friends' homes who were foster parents, and they were really not well behaved. Then they came to our house and they were. And it's kind of been the opposite one other time too, where they weren't doing well in our home, and then they did great in my friend's home.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so another thing people want to know about is, okay, and something you said you wanted to talk about was the placement arrival.
Ooh,
so,
okay.
Do you want to maybe like describe that for people?
Sure. The first thing that happens is you get a phone call and they'll go, Mrs. White, we have a placement for you. Well, you know, they're very nice. They're very kind, the placement workers. So I am not putting them down, but I hated. It would make me cringe every time I heard that. Because what it was doing is it was dehumanizing the child. It's a placement, not a person.
Yeah, a lot of people have told me they don't like that word.
Oh,
placement.
I hate it.
Yeah.
It used to just make me cringe.
It really doesn't bother me. Like, it's never bothered.
I know.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's like just depends on who you are.
Or whatever.
Okay, I remember what you were telling me the other night. Okay,
Yeah.
You said that when they call, they always try to like talk the child up. Like they're not gonna tell you like this child starts 5 or I don't know. Like they kind of don't really let you in on, I guess, like all like
the information.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, first of all, the placement workers usually are not the ones who have gone out and seen the child and the situation, so they might not even know about the child. But of course, they always want to sugarcoat it because they need this child put in a home for the weekend.
Right, so they try to like kind of sell it to you in a way. Yeah.
Oh, she's lovely. And of course, they're all lovely in my eyes. Yeah, they're all lovely. She's lovely and she has the cutest brown eyes and curly brown hair. And she is a real keeper. And, you know, they just, you know, they're real friendly and all that. But
they're not necessarily transparent about
exactly
really like the real story.
Either really don't know, but if this child were perfect, then you know they would not have a problem in placing her or him. But I just kind of let that roll off my back, and because I knew I was going to be the one who would end up knowing more about this child than anybody else.
Yeah.
So I was really excited when they brought the placement to our home, and my girls and boys would run all over the place. I'll get the crib set up. I'll get the blankets. I'll get the clothes for age 2 years old or 1 year old. And it was really a family affair. But it was very difficult. Most children come at night and they would cry all night.
That was me. Well, I didn't cry all night, but I was like hysterical when I arrived.
Yeah, so that, you have to think of what would make that child feel good. Most of the time, food.
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good,
Yeah.
a good way to get them comfortable.
And I pretty much slept with everybody.
You slept with everybody?
I slept with everyone under the age of 5 for the first couple nights until they got comfortable.
Okay. Yeah. I think with like little kids like that, that's super comforting. Like they need someone to like hold them.
Yes.
And like let them cry. Because yeah, that's what that girl was asking earlier. Like how do you kind of get them acclimated to your home within that first month? Because that's really like a hard time, I think, for everybody to get adjusted. Like especially that child to get adjusted. That's probably the hardest time. So like, I don't know if we talked about that in our last video. Like, what are some things, because I feel like I get asked that literally. That's like my number one question is like how to make a child comfortable when they first move into your home.
You give them choices. Many of these kids have never had choices before, and not too many. You don't want to overwhelm them. But usually by the time they made it to our house, which was 2 or 3 hours after the call, we already had the clothes hung up for the little girls or the little boys' toys or whatever. And we'd say, we do have a couple of pair of pajamas for you. Which one do you want? You get to choose this.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And some kids did not want to take their clothes off, and I understood that completely. If they were, 2 or 3, a little bit older. And so I let them pick the pajamas out. I fed them, let them pick out a couple of choices, that might be comforting for them. A lot of kids just like things like mashed potatoes, comfort food, cereal, things like that. But they would eat the whole gamut, depending on how old you are, what you chose. The other thing is if they came with a stuffed animal or a doll, then they would want to sleep with that, or sometimes just a piece of clothing. I think that smell, that fragrance of mom or home is very comforting, and I think we all go through that. There are certain smells that homes have, and you want to make sure it's a good one for your child.
Yeah, I'd say that was like the number one thing when I would be in a new foster home, was like I felt very homesick. And that's like the number, I feel like that was the biggest feeling, and it's really hard to know what to do with that. And I think like your foster family, the best thing they can do is just try to include you. Like, I don't know, I think it helps when you kind of walk them through what you do. You're like, okay, this is what we do as a family in the morning, and like show them around your home, get them, like definitely talk to them and get them aware of your routines and like where things are, and this is when we eat, this is when we sleep, this is when we take a bath. Like, just talk to them.
Yes, that tour through the house is really a good idea, Stephanie. Because we did that. I would first show them the bathroom, because that was always, one of the better places for them to know. And then I'd say, this is your bedroom.
You get really excited.
Yeah.
Like, this is yours.
And
this is your
look
space.
at this picture, and, this and that. And they'd like that.
Yeah.
The other thing is, if you have a camera. Now, I'm not, this was before, everybody was getting on the internet and putting everything on social media, but I would sometimes take a picture of the kids, with a 35 millimeter, and then show them their pictures, and they were so excited. I'd take 2 or 3 pictures. They loved that.
Aww.
And especially in their new pajamas. And I would also have them sit in a chair, and I'd ask them, if you want me to comb your hair. The little girls like that. The little boys wanted to play with certain toys usually. I mean, this is very generalized, but it's pretty much straight across the board what I experienced.
Do you want to talk about like clothing vouchers?
Yes. Okay. So after your child comes and you're so excited, I would always suggest you kneel down at their level. Maybe it doesn't seem like a big deal, but you kneel down at their level and you go, "Oh, I love your hair. It's such a pretty color." And find something positive. No matter what negative vibes you get, find something positive. And
build them up.
Yeah. And, don't overdo it, but do a couple of statements, and then make sure you ask them, because they're a person. They've been, moved around so much a lot of times that no one's ever asked them, how do you feel? Or what do you think about this?
Yeah.
And let's see here. Oh, so you kneel down and look them straight in the eye and say, I can tell we're going to get along just great.
Aww.
And I'm real happy you're here. And then my kids would go, oh, we're happy you're here too, or whatever. And sometimes if they were not an outgoing child, that might irritate them, and you have to, you have to stand back. Don't reach out for that child and hug them and love them right away. Just like you wouldn't for a strange animal, a little dog, a little puppy, kitty. You're not going to go, whoa, you're going to have instant love here. You kind of wait until they warm up to you.
Yeah, you don't want to overwhelm them, I'd say.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, just
okay,
take your time.
Then you asked me about the clothing voucher.
Which I think is really funny, because you were explaining it to me the other night. Like, what'd you say? They give you $250 and, like, that's it. You get, like, a one-time...
Okay.
Like a one-time check, and that's supposed to like pay for their shoes and like winter coats and all, like that's insane.
You're given, they'll say, oh, well, we didn't have time to get a voucher together. And I say, well, do they come with, did little, Lucy come with any clothes or whatever? And they say, just what she has on her back, Mrs. White. And I go, okay, well, we had clothes, thank goodness. But with your very first child that you get in foster care, you probably aren't going to have clothes because they're going to call you. You don't know if you're going to have a boy or a girl or a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, newborn, 10-year-old, whatever. So, but after the first foster child comes and it's a 2-year-old boy. We had twins that were 2 years old. And they came with the clothes on their backs. And we didn't have those clothes. So I immediately went and took them with us.
Oh, we're blurry. Hold
Okay.
on. Go ahead.
Immediately went to the store and bought them some clothes. And enough for like 2 days. And then the caseworker would say, okay, we're going to get your voucher for you, your clothing voucher, and it'll come through in like a week. And you're going, oh my gosh. So right away I started being a little aggressive, and I'd call every day, is my clothing voucher ready yet? Can I, hurry it along because these children need more clothes? And so sometimes you have to really be firm, but let them know you mean business. You don't want to be taken advantage of. So usually what I got, and I'm sure it's increased, but it was $250 per child. That sounds like a lot of money initially, but it's not. If it's the fall, you need a jacket. You might need to buy a little winter coat if it's starting to get cold. You need shoes, not one pair of shoes, because remember, these are kids who are going to want to experience life. So you're going to need little boots and shoes because they might get dirty. You don't want to take that away from them. They want to have a good time. And some clothes. $250 does not go far. And then in a month or whatever, you get your foster care check. Ours back then was around $300 a month.
And that all like varies depending on like what agency you're
Yes.
with, right? And I feel like, because I wonder if clothing vouchers are like the same across the board. Like, is it going to be different? I mean, I'm sure it would be different, like depending on the agency you're with and all that. But you were with like the state, right?
I was with state.
Yeah.
Steve and I, my husband, decided we wanted to go to the agency that had the greatest need, which was actually a county agency. And it was definitely a great need there, Now, there is an agency that took one of our foster children a while, back. Okay. And when they took the child, they got paid $2,000 a month.
Yeah, like I know that in private agencies, they typically get paid a lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more.
Yeah, so... so if that's important to you, we didn't even know until it was like our last training. I didn't know. My husband knew, but it was our last training in foster parenting 101. And then they said, and your check. And I said, what are they talking about? And he says, yeah, we'll get a check for the children. Now, it was not a lot of money, but it definitely helped. Definitely helped.
So, like, what would you suggest to people? Like, they get a child, they don't have any clothes, they're waiting on a voucher. Do you think that, like, as a foster parent, maybe you should, like, just keep a stash of clothes or something?
Yes,
like...
For the first one, you don't know.
Yeah.
Unless you just write on your list during training, I will only take 2-year-old boys. That would be real easy. You could...
Go to like garage sales.
Go to garage sales.
Yeah.
Find cute things at the store that you want to pay. Remember, you're not doing this for money. If you're doing it for money, just shut this off right now.
Shut this off.
Shut this off because
you're not
going to make money. And secondly of all, that's not why you're in it. If it's not your heart that's leading you, then you're in the wrong situation.
I think it is for most people though. And
yeah,
like,
I do too.
I feel like I don't know what I was gonna say. Hold on. Like, kids are expensive, and so I wish so much that there was more funding available for kids and, like, to help get them, like, school supplies and clothes and just make them feel, like, build them up, because these are the kids who need the most building up because they've been so, just beat down, I feel. I don't know.
Yes, now that leads into something else. First of all, in the fall, if they're school-age child, you might get another check for, like, just, for supplies. I don't know how much those were, but it was for school supplies. Then it leads me to the other thing that I wanted to bring up. When a little child comes to you, or say they're up to 17, it doesn't matter what the age, they usually come with nothing or a black trash bag. Okay.
Yeah.
That just hurt me inside so much. It's like these are trash babies. That's what I felt like that was being told to me when they came with trash bags. They needed some kind of dignity to at least arrive with a cute bag or something that they could call their own.
Yeah.
And so what we did, we went to the agency and we brought that up, and we were put in the paper, and we started a drive for, backpacks, for cute bags, for duffel bags, for suitcases, so that children can arrive at their destination and at least say, here's my stuff, instead of, here's her stuff, throwing the bag on the floor. And that was very successful. It was a one-time thing, but wow, we got a lot of response from the county.
Okay. So the last thing I want to talk about is like going on vacation and like respite care and stuff like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Respite care is your friend. What is respite care? Everybody in the world who works in foster parenting is a wonderful thing, but it is also some work. And so they offer a respite care to you, I don't know, a couple times a year or whatever. And they will find you, or you have to find, an approved foster parent who can take your child. And even if it's for one day, sometimes you just kind of need to be,
You need a mental break.
Yeah, you need a break. Everybody needs that.
Yeah.
So we did that only a few times because I missed the kids. Sorry, I did. But we go to a nearby city often, and it was 75 miles away. Well, at the time, it was 70 miles was the cutoff that you could go on your own without getting permission from the agency. So, because I was a real stickler for the rules, I didn't want anything to happen, I would apply. And they would give you permission. You had to go in and fill out this form and all that. But it was good to do that. Now, there are times when they tell you you should treat your foster children as your own family. You want to take them on vacation once a year. Or, to a nearby city and go to the zoo or museum or whatever if it's not one that's in town. And that took a lot more work, but I would always start 2 to 3 weeks before I needed to have it.
So start the process.
Yeah, start the process early, because they'll say, oh, she's on vacation. She's the only one that can sign it. Oh, she didn't get it, or it must be on her desk. Start it and get it complete, so that you have that paper to take with you on vacation in case anything happens.
Okay, so wait, if you need a child to go into respite care,
Yeah.
you call the caseworker and they find someone for you, or you have to find someone?
Okay,
How do
well,
you find a respite person?
What it was, in the beginning, they said, we'll find someone for you.
Yeah.
And then it went from that to, we'll give you a list of 2 to 3 people who are approved, and you can call them. You need to let us know.
And so you had to make the arrangements?
Yes. And
Okay.
now, see, I don't know what it is right now,
Yeah.
and every agency could be completely different. But then it ended up, my caseworker just said, you can, you make your own arrangements with with other foster parents for respite. But just let us know, because see, they would get paid for doing respite. Yeah.
Okay.
So
like on that note, I wanted to just say, like, okay, because I remember when I was a teenager and stuff, like, you guys would let me go stay the night with my friends and
Yes.
things like that, because, like you said, they tell you to treat these kids like they're your kids, like, don't really treat them any different. But like, I've been in foster homes where they're by the book. They're like, you're not allowed to stay the night with people unless, like, there's like a certain procedure you have to do to stay the night with people. Like, you have to get like, from what I remember, you had to get like photocopies of the parents' driver's license and like all this kind of
that's right.
crazy stuff just to be able to stay the night with a friend. And like, I don't want to say go against the rules or anything like that, but I just wanted to say that I appreciate you for how you let me live kind of normally. Like, you trusted me. Like, you didn't say, hey, I need to, like, do all this crap before you can stay the night with your friends, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know.
Okay, now, when I was doing it, it was if they were going to stay any place longer than one night. One night was okay. But if it's 2 nights, then you had to fill out paperwork. So we did not break any rules. I'm
not trying to say that.
No.
Some people I lived with legit wouldn't even let me get in a car with someone unless they had like a copy of their driver's license or whatever.
Right.
And I don't know the exact rules, but it's like, I don't know, some people are just really, really by the book. And that, I feel, can kind of make you feel like you're not, I don't know, you're not normal. You're not
like your
everybody
other
else.
teens, your own teens can go out and go to their friends' homes on the weekend, and the teen that you have through foster care all of a sudden has to stay home with the old people. So that would not be fair. That would not be right, and it wouldn't be normal.
It's definitely weird when you're wanting to just stay the night with your friend, but you're like, well, I have to do this, this, and this. And a lot of times, like, I didn't really want people to know I was in foster care.
Of course not.
I guess that's, like, something we could talk about more, too, at some point. But, like, I don't know. It was annoying to me to have to make such a big deal about being a foster kid when, yeah, of course I wanted to feel normal and do normal things and do all the same things that other kids got to do. I even remember, like, them being weird about us having our picture in, like, the newspaper and stuff like that.
Yes. No public pictures. No public pictures. And if your child won an award or was chosen to have their picture taken at school because there was a school dance or whatever, not allowed to do it. And that's how it was. I don't know what it's like now, but when you go through training, make sure you find out all these little details. No matter how prepared you think you are, there's going to be a situation come up. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that you're maybe not so prepared for.
Yeah. So you have to be flexible. Try to have a good attitude. Try not to take anything personally when they go, I hate you. Yeah. So, you just don't take it personally. And when you go on visits, because it was required for you to take your child for a 2-hour visit a week, and you take the child there, and I'm making this up. I'm not, referring to any one case. There might be a mom who abused her kids, but you were taking the visit at the agency, so there's supervision, and it's required by the state to take your child there. And by this time, you're just really close to the child, whether the child feels that or not. You have put some time into her, and you want to protect her. You don't want her to go through a lot of hurt and pain. So you take the child to your planned visit, and the mom doesn't show up, and you sit there. So they say, oh, her mom's not coming. And I think, okay. So then the next week you show, and she doesn't come again. Then the third week you go.
And, like, the child obviously feels really crappy.
And, they get upset.
So what are you going to do as a foster parent? Because, I feel like at that situation, it's almost like the child kind of backs away from you even more.
Yes. Because they think it's the foster mother or foster father's fault that mother didn't show. You took me from my mom or my dad. No. But
so what do you do with that, like a kid's because I feel like that's a pretty common mentality for kids, foster kids.
Very common. The day after the visit, whether mom shows every week or dad shows every week or not, the day after the visit, you have just stopped back. You've just gone back 5 spaces in that game of chutes and ladders. That's how, you're just gone down the slide into the very beginning of when that child got there. It is traumatic. It's very hard.
So you have to start all over.
You have to start all over.
And so you have to be prepared for that and just keep going.
Right. Now,
can't give up.
In our agency, they seem to like me, so I could make all my own doctor's appointments for the child and take the child to the doctor. But when we went through training, they said, oh, the foster care worker will go with you. No, that never happened.
They would go with you to every single
That's
doctor
what
appointment?
they said.
That never happened. Yeah.
Never. Not once.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, you can just do that. Well, of course I would rather do it. I don't want to have to entertain another adult and, and take care of the kids. I wanted them to feel comfortable at a doctor's office or dentist office.
So didn't you have a caseworker? You had a caseworker as a foster parent, right?
Yes.
And then the child has a caseworker.
The foster parents have a foster care worker who helps them through things, and you can call all the time, and we had a wonderful one for the entire 15 years. Just absolutely wonderful. And then each child has a caseworker. So if you have 4 different children from 4 different families, you're going to have 4 different caseworkers.
And what, they come over like once a month, right?
They have to come, oh geez, I can't remember if it's 2 weeks or a month. I'm sorry.
I don't remember either. I remember my caseworker coming over like, I want to say it was once every month though.
Yeah, it probably is.
I don't know if it was
I
that
can't
frequent.
remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
But they said, oh, we'll call before we come. And I said, don't do that. Just come, knock at the door, we'll be ready for you. Mm-hmm. And see, I think, I'm not trying to manipulate people, but I think that was a good thing that the agency liked me because I didn't try to hide anything. Yep. My house was generally orderly. And I always had food, that I could offer to them. And they'd see the children playing or asleep. If the child was asleep, they still had to, even though they didn't talk to the child, they had to go and look. So we'd open the door. So they made sure that child was still okay. That the child did not die or run away or whatever.
That they're present.
Yeah, that they are present. So.
Okay.
Okay, do you have anything else?
I don't know, do you have
There's
anything else?
So much, we need another video. I'm sorry.
We always do.
There really is.
There is so much.
lot.
I feel like when we get to talking, it really is just like, okay, what's next? We need to know about this.
Okay, I do want to say one last thing about voucher. When you get your voucher, usually it was 0, I want to say, to 12 or 11. That was one amount. And then if you got a child like 11 or 12 and older, you got a different amount because, come on, that's very obvious. I don't even need to tell you. A teenage person cost a lot more money than a 1-year-old.
Yeah. I worked at Rue 21 and they took clothing vouchers, which I thought was really cool because when you're a teenager, especially a girl, you want to look cute and stuff.
Yes. You don't want to look different from everybody else. You don't want to have those nasty shoes on and...
Yeah. You want to be more dignified.
Yeah, you really do. Yeah. And you want to take your girls, if you have teenage girls, to get, their hair done or cut or... if they no tattoos or piercings.
Take your foster kid to get a tattoo.
Yeah, you can't do that, but you can, take them to have their hair done, or if it's prom, my gosh, you want them to participate just like anybody else. Get their nails done if that's the case, or whatever. And there's something new that wasn't as popular when I was doing it, and that was cell phone. There's a certain point where, well, definitely, now, but then it wasn't.
That's another expense you have to think about. So really, I just really feel like foster parents should be getting paid more money. Because I really don't think what you guys get is even enough to cover.
Oh yeah, we went in the hole.
Yeah, because kids are expensive. Yeah.
But the thing is, it made me so proud. I loved what I was doing, so I didn't care. Mm-hmm. I didn't care. And it wasn't like we had a lot of money by all means, because my husband was working several jobs in order to make ends meet. But it was our contribution. That's what we wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So.
Okay, Beans, is there anything else?
Nope, we'll have to do it for another video.
Yeah, a lot of people told me, we should make training videos. We should be the training video people have to watch.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is.
We know our stuff, Bean.
Well, yeah, there's so many details, and I don't want to bother anybody right now about those. If you have questions, just make sure you submit them.
Yeah,
okay?
Always ask questions. We love answering questions, and we're definitely up to do this more. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's all from us. Bye.
Bye.